Thank you, Oumar, for being with us, and we'd love to hear from the Great Green Wall in Senegal.
Thank you, Sad. It's always hard to come after Bruno, right? But it's a privilege to be here today. Honor one was yours, because I'm one of the first one who graduated from this university. So I'm a full product of this university in collective intelligence. Yuang speaks 6P SCI. And I'm currently the general director of the Great Green Wall in Senegal. Now, one may think that is absolutely simple because we have different understanding of what it is. But I'll first ask if someone can just give me what the perception is of what the Green Wall is about. Isn't it? Do you know the Great Green Wall?
Well, honestly, I don't know exactly what it is. Well, there is the Great Wall, so I think something like China thing. And the green, it means for agriculture. So it's something that maybe will be helpful in Africa, that will, like green belts, that will, yeah, it connect countries for green
If you're
thing.
about to make it happen, what would you do? If we asked you to build a green wall, what would you do?
Okay, let me think a little bit about it. I will first try to study where.
Traveling around?
No. I will try to study first where I will put this Great Wall. Try to look for a right labor to work, to build it.
To do what?
To build it. Build
What?
The Great Wall.
The Great Green Wall. What is it? What is it? Grass?
Trees.
Trees?
Finally get the help.
Go ahead.
It's okay, it's okay. I worked in art and they did something really,
Thank you.
it's the same thing as the Great Green Wall. It's a fence that, it's a fence of 15 kilometers, and the Great Green Wall is something very similar as it's a plantation of trees, plants going for like 15 kilometers or more. I think the Great Green Wall, it's a fence of plants and trees going from Senegal to Djibouti, I think. So I've heard of that on LinkedIn, so.
Thank you. She said that the Great Green Wall is a line of trees between Djibouti and Senegal. Great definition. When you Google it, it's actually the African Union. Did you chat GPT?
No, I didn't chat GPT, but I work on the program of Science Week, and since I'm interested in agriculture, so I try to find.
Are you trying to find out some information? Great. It's actually when the African Union created this great idea of the Great Green Wall, the idea was to have a line of trees that go from Senegal to Djibouti, 11 countries, Mali, Burkina, Niger, Nigeria, so on, Sudan, Ethiopia, Chad, Eritrea, so to fight against desertification, to fight against the climate change. But how it did not happen since 2006 to 2023 right now, 16 years of hard work. I'll tell just the example of Senegal, where I heard that we spent about $500 million and we're not able to make it. What happened? Is it difficult just to plant a line of trees? In Senegal, it's 500 kilometers long, 15 kilometers wide. 15 years, $500 million. We're still at between 5 and 18%, I believe. We're the moderate advance, and I think we're around 18% with Ethiopia. Everyone else about 4%. And the objective is 2030, in 8 years. What the problem is, and everybody seems to be happy. Funding partners, the governments, researchers, students, everyone seemed to be happy with it. 4 out of 100. That's 1 out of 20. If you have seen any university where you can have 1 out of 20 and get your diploma, please let me know. I want to get a chemical engineering diploma out there. It doesn't make sense. You know why? It's based because the perception is wrong. You have to look at the Great Green Wall not as a simplicity of a line of trees, but it's a whole ecosystem that goes around it. And I will explain to you. Where we at right now? 2006, 2030 is the objective. We're in 2023. 16 years, 4% of execution, $500 million. What we have not done in 16 years, we ought to do it in 8 years. Imagine what? We probably with the same amount of money. My eyes keep running since this morning. I don't know why. I may have some allergies. So we literally fell on that. It did not happen. It's just because simplicity is what everyone sees. But when it comes to execution, to making it happen, it is more complicated. And I will explain to you why. All we got right now is hostilities. Hostilities is because most of the time, when you're in this area where the Great Green Wall is need to be implemented, it barely ran. Bruno's talked about it. It's only ran about 3 months a year. 3 months a year. When you want the first drop of water, you have to dig in 200, 300, 330 meters down to get the first drop of water. And you want to plant some trees, turn around, and walk away. They won't survive. The agency alone is planting 5 million trees a year. The agency alone. I'm not talking about nonprofit organization, private sector, and so on. If we take 5 million trees by 10 years, that's 50 million trees. If you divide it by 196,702 square meters, that's the square meters of Senegal, the square footage of Senegal. You have 250 trees by square square kilometers. Well, we should have a Great Green Wall in the whole country. Well, I invite you to come and do a map of the land that has no 250 trees on it. I think you'll run out of gas. You know why? It's just because we keep adding the numbers and we're not realizing the 5 million trees we're planting this year are the same 5 million trees we're probably going to plant next year, because most of them dying. And the reason because of dying, because of the quality of the soil, we keep having degradation of the soil. We never thought about it. The reason why these trees are dying, because they need actually to get water for at least 6 months in order to be sustainable, in order to survive. Well, it's only ran about 2 months. The reason these trees are dying is because there is no enough fence. It's cost about literally $10 to 10 euros for 1 meter of fence. Are you going to fence every square meter that you have in this country where you're going to plant some trees? You're not able to have money for it. And the moment it stops raining, when crops not available for the livestock, what they do, they walk around. If they see anything green, they throw it up. So you get your plants eaten every single year after the rainy season. And you keep planting and you're happy about it. Numbers keep adding up and you see nothing happening. When there's no vegetation, people move around. The little space that you have, people will actually occupy that space, and that generate local conflict between farmers and herders. And you know what happened to the youth that we are? We move to big cities looking for opportunities. If we don't, Get on a boat. Go to Europe, and sometime it never happen. Sometime we never make that dream come true. It's a lot of risk involved. And right now, the green wall without energy doesn't make sense. But does a tree has nothing to do with energy? Simplicity is no. Complexity is yes. First, you have to have energy. Because if you don't have energy, you're not able to have access to water. Especially, even the wells that we have right now, they're run by generators. You're building the green wall, you're pumping water from the soil, and then you're doing a generator, you're polluting the space and all of that. A few gardens that we grow vegetable for our women and so on, you kill them all. And diseases keep growing and so on, because we're using the wrong energy. And at the same time, if you have energy, that you have to work on something really important, crops for livestock. Why? It's because this line of the green wall go through an area where people are mostly herders. They keep moving from season to season because they need to follow the livestock, because they need to find something to feed their animals. Well, if you build a school, they walk away from the school. We see it happening. People build a school, and at the end of the rainy season, people walk away. And you know what happened? If you build a health center, people will walk away. They can't use it because they live out of what they get from the cows and goats and so on. If they can't feed it, they move. So if you're not able to grow crops for them, you're wasting your time. Whatever you do is a waste. But we have never seen it, look at it from the science perspective. And once you have it, what you do is have a space where they can run it on their own. This is collective intelligence. Our experience has shown that if you administer this community, in order for you to have efficiency, you have to let them run it on their own. Understanding how they think, who make the decision, and how and what is a real collective intelligence. It's about listening, it's about going out there, talking to those people, understanding, and then building a model, a management model that can help this community to be sustainable. Once you have all of these goats and cows, livestock in these closed fences, what do you have? You have water, you have crops, and what else do you have? What else do you have? Let's create some opportunities. Milking point, I call it the milking point, because you get the collect milk that is available. If they all over the space, all over the country, do you have the opportunity to go ahead and collect the milk? No. Do you have an opportunity to collect quality food? No. Quantity? No. You don't. Meat? No. Biomass? No, you don't. But you have them all in one place. You create new opportunities when it's come to using these chain values. It's really important. At the same time also, you get the opportunity to fix one problem. In French, we call it bois de service, wood services. What is it about? Why do we cut trees? What do you think? Why we cut trees? Why?
For paper, heating.
Think of someone who is about 50 kilometers from Nigeria, from Abuja. Why would he cut a tree?
For a building.
Building. For cooking. And what else?
Cooking. Yeah.
Eating. Okay. Energy. So it's for energy, for building house, and what else? Making money how? Selling what? Charcoals. That's energy also. Papers is mainly three reasons. We cut trees because we want to make energy. Energy for cooking, charcoal and so on, cooking at home. The second thing is because we want to build a house. And the third thing is because we want to build fences. It's really, really an important thing. Fence. In the rural area, people cut trees, especially the Egyptiaca. They cut it because they want to build fences around their houses and their farms. It's really important. Every single year, they do it all over again because the wood is not able to resist termites. So what happened is every single 2 years, every single year, they ought to cut the trees again to rebuild their own house. They cut the tree again to make again the fences, and they keep cutting the trees to cook. So whatever you're doing as a green wall, planting trees, you turn around, 3 years later, somebody will come in and cut it because they need it to build a house, or they need it to build a fence, or they need it to cook. Are we going to make it? Really? If we don't fix this problem, we will never make it. That's mitigation of risk. Because you know what? People just don't understand what the green wall is about. It's not just about trees. It's about taking care of the community's need, the sustainability of the community. And if you don't take care of the risk, if you don't take care of the need of the community, you will never be able to make the green wall a reality. It's impossible. You turn around, they cut it because they need it. So we have to take care of the needs. First, how? Anyone know bamboo? The bamboo? Last 15, 20 years. These people don't know it because they have never been in touch with it. Yes, bamboo can grow in that area. If you have 2 acres of bamboos around any villages, in 5 years to 10 years, they will never be able to finish it. They cut it, they make house, it's a one time, you have a house for 15 years. Then you mitigate the risk, number one. Number two, there is some species of trees that they consume themselves really slow with fire. So we have to introduce these kind of trees. And we have to introduce some kind of a small technology that will help them actually to use energy, alternative energy. But this is where we make also another mistake. You meet someone who has never been in touch with such an advanced technology. They have never seen gas at all, cooking gas. No. Someone that have never seen a train. They have never seen a train. You bring him a sophisticated technology or a solar technology. You know what? What happened? After 9 p.m., they're not able to cook with the solar energy. They store it and it will never get out. During the rainy season, and they cannot use it because it ran all the time almost. They will never be able to use it. It's people that move from space to space. How would they carry it? They cannot use it. They cannot repair it. They cannot fix it. So guess what? They return back to the old habits, and it's all over again. So we really need to build a solution around their own need first, but with their know-how. If someone lived in an area for 200 years, don't tell me he has no knowledge. No, he has a knowledge. But you think it's an archaic knowledge. You think it's classic. Well, you have to build a solution around their own needs. If you don't build it, they won't use it. Whatever you plan, they cut it because you can't put a police officer behind each tree 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's not going to happen. Okay? So it's really about building alternative. Green wall. If someone is to cut a tree every single year, thousands of trees, because they want to make a fence, well, do you know about Acacia mellifera? It's a kind of tree that can make a green fence. But one single small tree, one single plant, costs about $1 to $2 in the Great Green Wall. How can someone who is making less than $500 income a year can afford 1,000 trees that cost each one of $2? It's not possible. But if you make accessibility of all the resources to this community, they're able to have their own green fences. And when they have their green fences, they no longer have to go through a lot of hassle to go ahead and cut trees every single year and pull them with a rope, bring them back to the field, and then putting them in as a fence. So you really have to solve the problem with in mind that it's not about just going out to the forest and planting trees. It's about taking care of people's needs. Once you take care of the need, then the forest will regenerate by itself, because the man is the first really biggest problem of the Great Green Wall and the environment. Now, what happened after that? That's where you're able to grow forest, but nutritional forest, medicinal forest. Every single family out there in the Green Wall have land. 2 acres, 5 acres, 10 acres, sometimes 100 acres. Back in the days, 1980, 1970, 1975, 3 months of hard work, they able to have enough food to take care of the family for the whole year. Now, because of the bad soil quality, because of the lack of water, because of so on and so on, climate change, a lot of things are happening, they're not able to have the yield that they need. And that's created a big problem. Right now, what we do is we go out to the field, to the forest, and then we just plant trees out of the blue. If someone has a land, instead of planting sorghum and so on, if you give him mango trees, lemon trees, do you think lemon tree will capture carbon? Lemon tree capture carbon? Yes, right? Does it feed your family? Somehow, because you make money out of it too, right? Well, who will take care of it? The farmer, right? So as the person in charge of implementing the Green Wall, instead of going out there planting trees that to the perception of the community make no sense, because you cannot have someone that has never seen a train, even a plane, that see a car once in a month, and you talk to him about capturing carbon. He wouldn't understand it. It doesn't make sense, really. Well, the climate change, I mean, I really don't care. I want to feed my family, yo. What you talking about? So really what it does make sense is helping him to actually grow plants on his own fields in order to be able to make living for his family. Then you don't have to pay water, you don't have to pay for the fence, and you don't have to pay for any supervision. You still capture your carbon, you're still making the Green Wall, and everybody happy. It's just a question of generosity. What we can make in a forest, to build a forest, we can make it home to build a forest that can make our people a good living. It's about changing the game. Now, once you have it, there's a lot of young men and women out there that support families, and sometimes we always look at them as a fragile community. The women out there need to make a living, yes, but we need to go beyond looking at those women as if they just need to make enough to survive. It's about creating more than survival opportunities. Those that we call tolukur in Wolof, I see Aya smiling. It's actually gardens that they grow vegetables and so on. But we have to create enough opportunities in order for them not only to make green, what we call the eco-village, but also have an opportunity to sell extra production that they make. So we need energy, we need machinery, the tools, refrigeration, transportation, and so on. But we have to be able to give them an opportunity themselves to make money out of the Green Wall. The Great Green Wall is about creating opportunities for communities, mostly vulnerable communities, in order to be resilient. No resilient community, no Green Wall. That's the bottom line. And The other thing is the private sector. Farming, agriculture, forestry, all of that. The private sector is the key to success, to sustainability in this project. Think about any project that was funded by a partner or funded by the government, and then the project ended. You know what you're going to see? A fence, probably an empty, what they call it, reservoir in French? Yeah, bassin, an empty water basin. Sometime a pickup with 2 wheels left, broken glass, an engine that disappeared, or shiny plate where it's written funded by. It's actually the plate is more resilient than the project itself. It's because of many things happening at the same time. Number one, the people we build the project for, they have never been associated to the project because they've always been looked at as beneficiaries. I'm sorry, that's the wrong concept. It's not about taking these communities as beneficiaries. They have the ownership of this project. They owners of the project. So they need to be associated in thinking, even at the very beginning. Let's think about a problem. The project aims to solve someone's problem. So you need to listen to that person and understand why the problem is happening. Why it's still happening 100 years after. It's collective intelligence. Understanding the problem, the way they understand it, is even important than understanding the problem itself. And that's where we all fail. Because we think we understand problems for people and we make a decision for them. That's the wrong way to go. It's not about understanding the problem, it's about understanding the way people understand their own problem. Because they're the one that can come up with real solution or possible solution to their problem. Go out there in Africa. The first things, look at it the next visit you go to Africa. All over the place you will be seeing machines and cars broken down and no one is fixing it. If you take technology to where knowledge of the maintenance knowledge of technology is not available, you're wasting your time and your energy and your resources. 3 months later, the machine is out. And that is happening. We're designing solutions to people without understanding how they understand the problem and how they see the potential solution. Once we have it, the management of the project, we have to let people manage the project because we take things so complicated that we forget that the most important solution for a complex problem is simplicity. Is simplicity. If we don't simplify things, people are not able to understand it. If they're not able to understand it, they let it go. The moment you walk away, the project is off. The sustainability is about simplicity. But the most important investment is the private sector investment. Government's job is not to create a job for everyone, but it's to create opportunities for the private sector to create jobs and develop the economy. When you look at here, well, I'll talk about the meat, the milk, and the chain of values and so on. The product, we talk about it already, and thus you create an environment that is friendly. And guess what? Problem we're solving. Number one is immigration. Solving immigration won't happen at the door of Frankfurt in Washington, D.C. No. It's where the potential immigrant is born. That's where you create opportunities for that person to be able to take care of himself, have an opportunity to generate income. And that's a motivation to fund. Because I have seen for the last years a few commitment, usually at the COP27 and so on, where big countries make a commitment to fund the green wall, where people are not able to make available that fund. But guess what? What's happening in the next few years? Either you pay for it, or you pay it at the door of Frankfurt and Washington, D.C., because people will keep coming. You got to pay for either way. If you pollute, you got to pay. Because pollution brings climate change. And climate change reduces opportunities. But people have no opportunities, they have no dream, they walk away. When they go, they will be at your door. Either way, you have to pay for it. The second thing is insecurity, international insecurity. When you go to an area where there is no hope, people tend to listen to philosophies and so on, and usually embark in potential very risky project. But if you create opportunities where people make money and income, and they go to school and they stable, then they busy taking care of themselves. When they busy taking care of themselves, the economy will be really busy, and then everyone will have peace. That's the key to stability. So the Green Wall is also about stability. The Green Wall is about also motivated environment protection. It's not about going out there and planting trees out of the blue and lining up. We at 500 kilometers, 523 tomorrow, 527 the day after. It's not about it. It's about creating opportunities where the population can understand what they can take out of the environment, and the forest is much better than destroying the forest itself. It's about a game changing, it's a philosophy. We have to build for the next generation. Building for the next generation is actually be soil sustainability, is about the education, is about so many things that will help the community to survive. It's beyond survival. It's creating opportunities for the next generation. And at the same time, look at it. This picture is so funny. Whenever I bring it up, people laugh at it. Why I label gender as a pregnant woman? Well, guess what? It's not about just a pregnant woman. It's about life. You know why? Go to Green Wall. Look at a young girl that is today 10 years old. And you start to imagine her future. Probably at the next year, by this time, 11, she's married. At the age of 12, she got her first baby. At the age of 13, her second baby. At the age of 14, she got her third baby. Then she has to wake up at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, walking 5 kilometers to take a basin of 30 to 40 liters of water on the top of her head to bring it home in order to have water, to wash clothing, to make food, to take care of her kids. Well, she has to return back around 8 because she has to go 10 miles, cutting wood, bring it home, make a cooking by 2 p.m. And you look at that young lady with your 4x4 wheel car. You have been paid to work on a gender equality project. And you call for a meeting where everybody sit and you explain to them what gender equality is, what their rights are. She probably will, at the age of 18, with so many diseases and so many problems that she may not be able to catch up. Well, it may not tell you that much, but that young lady has been my mother. Yes. I was born in that condition. A family with 8. It's hundreds of thousands of young girls that await for the same destiny. Well, we can let it go because we have opportunities to go to school. My mother fought that I could go to school. I know what she's gone through. She's no longer among us because in that condition you can't live really longer. But what happened here, we have an opportunity to fix these people. When we fix them, then we can create opportunities for these young men and women to be able to pay for the education of their kids. Going to school is really important here because we're building the next generation. You cannot take your kid to school if you cannot afford a breakfast. You cannot take kids to school if you cannot afford to buy a book. You know what my mother was doing so I can have a handbook? Yes, I have witnesses. She was going to abandon houses that build when they build the houses, the bag of cement, the brown bag of cement. That's what was she taking. She cut it and then she sew it and she make it a handbook. I went to school with that kind of handbooks. I have never got the opportunity to wear a pair of shoes. I wear my first pair of shoes at the age of 14. Yes. So we create opportunities. The Green Wall is about creating opportunities, sedentarizing these people, and less conflict with a collective intelligence concept that will actually help with the private sector and all of these mechanisms. Imagine you have a forage where you have a water, and then 15 miles of an irrigation system where you have all these fences and gardens and schools and so on. We're able to do that. Doesn't take that much. In Senegal, it only take about $1 billion. In 10 years, you change the system. You have food security, sustainability, you have food security, sustainability, you have your green wall, and you have an economy that is running. But mostly, you have gender equality, and you build the next generation. And you build it with the government. Private and funding partners, the private sector, research. Right now we have a program going on. I will talk about it next slide. Universities, women organizations, and you have a non-profit organization and territorial collectivity, the local community. That's what it takes to build it. But you know what? It's an interconnectional project that will build a whole set of green and inclusive economy that create jobs. Guess what? Where the science is coming? We need a digitata for the Green Wall. Understanding the mapping of the collective intelligence. Having a mapping of collective intelligence and knowing who knows what and how people react. How we can organize these people so they can take their own destiny. Having a soil map so we can have a map of this soil, the quality and soil we can grow, the species that we can introduce, and so on. Early detection of bushfire. Because those trees also, when we plant them, we walk away. 3 months later, when there's a bush of fire, it's all destroyed. So we keep resetting the barang every single one, and everybody happy about it. It's about creating a data set to understand when it's going to rain, how it's going to rain, how many, and then what species to plant this year. It's a whole set of data that we need to build. It's having a soil, a map of the carbon map, the sequestration, carbon sequestration map. Following up this green wall and understanding all of that. That's what it is about. Now, the role of science. Research and development. It's a blueprint. 2006, when we created the green wall, the first thing we did is planting trees. Everywhere you go, planting. We have no blue map. That's why Foundation OCP. I don't know if you heard about it. Does anyone don't know about OCP here? Foundation OCP? I'll throw you out of the door. Trust me. Well, they funded $2.4 million euro. They funded the Green Wall of Senegal, $2.4 million last year. So we can conduct some research and development program. And I would like to thank them for that. They funded a program in water because we need to understand the accessibility and management of water. We need to understand the energy, the need that we have. Yes, we need energy, but what kind of energy that we can develop our own and then inspire ourselves from the energy park. Governance, collective intelligence, co-construction, how to build models that people can own and run it by their own. And building a national coalition of people. We have to think together and act together in order to make it happen. And also how to manage the soil, because women, up to now, even the law permits, the reality is they have no access to land. And that reality, we can solve it with collective intelligence, international coalition, because the government of Senegal is really, really open to developing that kind of opportunity for these vulnerable communities. It's really important. And this machine, I know you haven't heard about it. It's a tree planting machine that uses no power, no electricity, no gas, and that machine was built here at the Fabri Lab. I'm the inventor of this machine. I built it here at the Fabri Lab. We're processing this machine. It's a machine that will be planting almost 1 million trees a year by its own. That's where science comes in. Right now, each person can only plant the average that we have seen in Senegal. You cannot go more than 40 trees a day because you have to dig in. It's really hot. The soil is hot. You have to dig in and then use a shovel and then plant it. But the tree does it all. No. He does almost 15 kilometers a day. He runs his own. And he pointed out on a GPS map. He'll tell you where he planted the trees, what species he planted. That's where science comes in. And that's where we expected to come in. Look at a problem and then transform it as an opportunity. I hate a world that there is no problem. I seriously do. There's no problem, there's no opportunity. We have to take these problems of the green growth and transform it to real good opportunities so people can make a living off of it. And the speeder is a technology that I talked about earlier, mitigation of risk, speeding up the process, and durability is giving life. It's making a business case for investment, private investment. And I will show you one thing that is really important here. You see that? You know it? I think someone do. Dates? No? What is it?
I know in Wolof, sump.
Sump in Wolof, isn't it? Well, it's, I think it's called Egyptiaca, something like that. Scientific name. Balanites. Voilà, Balanites Egyptiaca in Senegal. Well, we took 1 kilo out of it, brought it here in the same university, did the analysis, took it to the lab, did the analysis, and guess what? That's the final project, and even better than the argan oil. We test it with dermatologists. We find out that it's even much better. The kilo of this one will cost about 50 cents. 50 cents dollars. Yeah, like a $50. The kilo is a $50. This one will cost you $25. Yeah. It's the value on the market. You have a body oil, you have massage oil, you have soap, and you have some kind of cream that Gerard gonna need, Bruno gonna need, because he's anti-age. Voilà, so he'll be the first client. And you know what? This is made in Morocco. The lab is here. We brought the product here. We research it. We have scientific evidence and then we build it. In 6 months, we're about to build the first factory. Based on the Moroccan model, we're about to build the first factory that will use the balanitis and then to make it to an oil for your own, for body oil. That's where creating opportunities comes in. Taking someone from 50 cents, half a dollar, to $25. But they need to be the owners of this factory, not the government, not anyone else. The community that take it and use it, the man and woman that don't know how to write their name, but live in that community, that's where we create opportunity for them to make a living. And we create a lot of other things. The acacia gommier that you all know of, well, we'll start selling it in the next few years because we're building another model that will be actually creating a product that will be used for the pharmaceutical and the food industry, ready to go with all the certifications. And that's where you really have a green wall. Because the green wall, you have to quit the idea of planting trees, go into building an ecosystem for community resilience. That's when you make it all happen. And that's where the science comes in as an answer to all that problem. Thank you.